I step into the glittering ballroom of the evergreen resort and immediately wish I hadn't come. Crystal chandeliers hang like frozen waterfalls, scattering light across polished marble floors. 100 conversations weave together in a velvet hum, punctuated by clinking glasses and bursts of laughter. The air itself feels wealthy, perfumed with French roses and quiet entitlement. I pause, fingers tightening around the strap of my clutch. For a second I am 21 again, raw, small and terrified, standing outside my parents' front door in the rain with a single suitcase and nowhere to go. But then Michael's hand finds the small of my back. His touch is firm, steady, the grounding pulse I've leaned on for the past decade. "Breathe," he whispers, surgeon's eyes sweeping over me with calm precision. "We earned our place here." He's right, of course. I've earned this. Every long night, every setback, every ounce of grit it took to turn rejection into resilience. Still standing in this room, their room, I feel the old shame prickling beneath my skin. "Mom!" A small voice whines at my side, tugging at his bow tie. This thing is trying to choke me. I kneel to meet Leo's frown, smoothing the stiff fabric. His dark curls, my curls, refuse to be tamed, but his brown eyes sparkle with mischief. At 6 years old, he is the purest proof of my second chance. "My son, my joy, my fresh beginning." "Just for a little while, buddy," I murmur. "Remember our deal. Good behavior now, swimming pool later." His pout dissolves into a grin. "Pinky promise." I hook his tiny finger with mine. "Pinky promise." When I stand again, Michael is watching me with that quiet smile that says he sees everything. The ballroom doors close behind us, and we move forward into the current of satin dresses and black tuxedos. That's when it happens. The crowd parts for a moment like the Red Sea, and my heart slams to a stop. A profile across the room catches my eye. The tilt of a head, the lift of a glass, the way her laughter leans forward before spilling into the air. 11 years. And yet my body recognizes her instantly. The bride turns. Her champagne flute rises in a toast. Our eyes lock across the glittering gulf of the ballroom. "Grace, my sister." The glass trembles in my hand, the only outward sign of the earthquake roaring inside me. For a heartbeat I can't breathe. The years collapse, and I am a child again, 12 years old, clutching the hem of my sister's dress during church choir, certain she was the sun I could never stop orbiting. I adored her once. Before everything. Grace gasped. The sound cuts sharper than crystal shattering, and guests turn their heads. The music plays on, but silence blooms around us. Across the room, my mother's face drains white, then floods crimson. My father squares his shoulders, instinctively placing himself in front of Grace like a shield. Always her defender. Always my judge. "What are you doing here?" My mother's hiss snakes through the hum of conversation, audible enough for the nearest circle of guests to glance our way with curiosity. For an instant, the familiar shame surges up my throat. It tastes of rainwater, cold and metallic, like that night so long ago when they slammed the door in my face. I see it vividly. The front porch light glaring down. My suitcase sagging against my leg. Father's voice like a verdict. "If you're too ungrateful to help at the clinic, don't come back." The door slamming shut, the sound final as a gavel. Me standing alone, soaked and shivering, 21 years old and suddenly nobody's daughter. The memory claws at me, but then Michael steps forward, his voice calm, unflinching. "My wife is a guest. She was personally invited by the groom." His words ripple through the circle of nearby doctors. I see recognition ignite in their eyes as one whispers to another. "That's Amber Collins, CEO of Medova." Title lands heavy in the air. Theo. A far cry from the broken girl they discarded. I straighten my back, Valentino fabric hugging curves I once starved to pay rent. The rain-soaked outcast is gone. In her place stands a woman who built something from nothing, who carved her name into an industry that never saw her coming. My sister's new husband, Daniel Brooks, approaches. His confusion flickers like a shadow across his face. He glances between Grace's frozen smile and my calm one. You know the CEO of Medova?" he asks my parents. His voice carries interest, professional admiration, and something else, doubt. He looks at me, recognition dawning. "We've been trying to partner with your company for months. Your monitoring system is revolutionizing post-surgical care." Behind him, Grace attempts a smile, but I see the falter at the edges. My parents exchange a glance loaded with panic. The whispers around us grow louder, threads weaving a new story, one my parents can no longer control. I could expose them. I could reveal everything. How they stole my tuition fund, how they told everyone I'd failed, how they funneled opportunity after opportunity to Grace while letting me drown. The power is finally mine. Instead, I simply lift my glass and say, "Hello, Grace. Congratulations." The simplicity lands like a thunderclap. Grace flinches as though I'd shouted. My mother stiffens. My father clenches his jaw. Michael's hand presses gently against my back, a silent question, stay or go. Leo tugs at my hand, looking up with wide innocence. "Mom, is that lady in the white dress your friend?" My throat tightens. I swallow the ache, keeping my eyes on Grace. Her husband is watching her now, watching us. Suspicion flickers behind his practiced smile. The cracks are forming, and he doesn't even know where they'll lead. The ballroom spins with music and chatter, but all I hear is my own heartbeat, steady now, no longer afraid. I stopped being afraid a long time ago. And tonight, whether Grace likes it or not, I am here. The whispers begin like wind through tall grass, soft, scattered, almost invisible. But they grow, gathering strength, until I feel them brushing against my skin from every direction. Amber Collins. Medova. Theo. The name carries its own gravity. In some circles it's said with admiration, in others envy. Tonight, in this ballroom where I was once nothing more than a family embarrassment, it is a weapon my parents never saw coming. "Is that her?" a woman murmurs to her husband, her diamonds catching the chandelier light. "I read her piece in the Lancet last year," another man says, voice tinged with awe. Each recognition slices through the careful facade my parents have spun for over a decade. My father's voice drops low, dangerous. "You need to leave." The command vibrates with the same iron tone he used when he threw me out. Should make me flinch. Instead, I feel only a weary calm. I've been told to leave too many times in my life. This time I am not moving. I tilt my head slightly, keeping my voice even. "I was invited. By the groom." The word hangs in the air like a blade. My father's nostrils flare. My mother hisses something to him, but I catch only the word reputation. Always reputation. Michael shifts subtly closer. His surgeon's frame tall, broad, unmovable. He doesn't need to speak. His presence alone is enough to remind them that I am not the powerless girl they discarded. I am a woman with allies, with a family of my own. My mother recovers first, her smile plastered so tight it looks painful. "Oh, you know how it is," she says loudly, ensuring those nearby can hear. Amber always liked to exaggerate. She's had difficulties. We've done what we could to help, of course. The words drip like poison wrapped in honey. I've heard them before, variations of the same manipulative tune. Lazy, ungrateful, difficult. They've been rewriting my story for years, each lie a brushstroke painting Grace as the angel and me as the burden. But now, the painting is peeling, and the canvas underneath tells a different truth. Difficult. A gray-haired oncologist blinks at my mother. With all due respect, Margaret Amber Collins has been featured in Forbes. Medova's monitoring system cut readmission rates at my hospital by 32%. That's hardly what I'd call difficult. The color drains from my mother's face. The circle of guests grows, drawn like moths to the unraveling. A few nod knowingly, others lean in for details. My name swirls around the room, gathering weight, gathering proof. And then the spotlight shifts. "Grace!" someone calls brightly. How wonderful to see sisters reunited. All heads turned to her. My sister, glowing in white satin. Her hair swept into a perfect chignon, pearls at her throat. For a moment she is radiant, the center of attention. But I see it, the tremor in her hand as she lifts her champagne, the flicker of panic in her eyes. Yes, she says, voice brittle. It's unexpected. A doctor from Johns Hopkins, clearly enjoying the drama, leans forward. Tell us, Grace. Daniel mentioned you were assisting with his research. How do you see Medova's technology integrating with cardiology data? The question is innocent enough on the surface, but it slices neatly into the heart of her carefully curated image. Grace laughs lightly, too lightly. Oh, well, technology changes so quickly. I'd hate to bore everyone with details. Her vagueness draws polite smiles, but also raised eyebrows. The doctor turns to me instead. Amber, what's your take? I don't gloat. Don't rush. I simply speak the truth. Our predictive models already integrate post-op EKG data. Within 2 years, we expect to prevent at least 40% of readmissions due to arrhythmia complications. The circle hums with impressed murmurs. Grace's cheeks flush crimson. Daniel, her groom, watches me with new eyes now. He is a man trained to notice irregularities, to detect hidden weaknesses in the body. He is noticing them in his bride. And in me he sees no weakness at all. The night unfolds in fragments. Praises from strangers. Stiff smiles from family friends who no longer know which narrative to believe. Grace tripping over medical jargon she pretends to understand. At one point, I catch Daniel studying his fiancée with a look that is not love but calculation, as though he is piecing together a puzzle that doesn't fit. His questions grow more pointed, his tone more probing. Where did you first meet Amber? Didn't you once say she never finished her degree? But if she so, how could that be true? The cracks widen. The lies that once sheltered Grace now suffocate her. Later I excuse myself to the restroom, grateful for a moment of solitude. The mirror greets me with a stranger's face. Older, sharper but steadier too. My reflection no longer flinches under scrutiny. The door creaks open. Grace. She closes it behind her, the click echoing through the tiled chamber. For the first time tonight she drops the act. Her smile vanishes. Her eyes flash with fury. What the hell are you doing here? Her voice is a hiss, jagged and raw. I turn slowly, meeting her gaze in the mirror. I told you. I was invited. Don't play games with me. She steps closer, satin rustling. You've ruined everything. Daniel's asking questions. People are comparing us. They were supposed to see me tonight, not you. Her words crack on the edges, desperate. For all her anger, I hear the fear beneath it. I take a breath, keeping my voice soft even. Grace, I didn't come here to ruin anything. I came to watch you get married. That's all. Her laugh is bitter. You expect me to believe that? After everything, I say quietly. I don't need revenge. My life speaks for itself. For a moment, the air between us is thick with the weight of unspoken years. Her eyes glisten, fury tangled with something else. Shame, maybe. Regret, though she'll never admit it. She shakes her head, fists clenched. You think you're better than me now. I meet her eyes. No. I think I finally stopped trying to be you. The silence is deafening. Grace exhales sharply, turning away. Stay out of my way tonight. That's all I'm asking. But it isn't a request. It's a plea. I nod once. Not in agreement but in acknowledgement. She leaves as abruptly as she entered, her perfume lingering like smoke. When the door shuts, I find myself staring at my reflection again. My pulse is steady. My hands are still. For the first time in years I feel free. Back in the ballroom, the music swells, the dance floor fills, and the night spins on. But the atmosphere has shifted. Whispers trail Grace now, not me. Doubt shadows Daniel's eyes. I don't need to expose the truth. It is unraveling all on its own. No. I just stand here watching it happen, calm in the storm. The ballroom hums with a new current now, one I can feel in my bones. It used to be Grace's current, the admiration, the smiles, the carefully crafted glow. But that current is faltering, slipping from her hands, and drifting toward me whether I want it or not. I never came here to steal her light. I came to sit quietly in the shadows, watch her marry, and leave unnoticed. But lies have a way of crumbling when truth is near, and tonight they're disintegrating piece by piece. Begins with Daniel. His questions, sharp at first, now carry the blunt weight of disbelief. So, remind me, he says, arms still linked with Grace's as they circle among guests. You studied at Stanford, right? His voice is pleasant, but I catch the flicker in his eyes. He is a doctor. He knows how to detect strain beneath the surface. Grace laughs lightly, eyes darting. Of course. Stanford, then back home to help father's clinic. Interesting, Daniel says, his tone cooling. Because Amber presented at the Stanford Medical Innovation Forum last spring. They credited her as an alumna. I assumed the two of you had crossed paths there. The sentence falls like a weight. My sister stiffens, grip tightening on her champagne glass. Around us, conversations falter, ears turning. She opens her mouth, closes it again. For the first time tonight, I see something unthinkable flicker in her eyes. Panic. I must have been before my time, she mutters. But the lie is too brittle, too thin. And Daniel, perceptive as ever, doesn't miss it. His polite smile fractures, just enough for those nearby to see. That's the moment the shift happens. Doctors, surgeons, administrators, people who build careers on evidence, start recalibrating. They glance at me, then at Grace, and the silent math begins. One sister speaks with knowledge and precision. The other stumbles over the simplest details. The allegiance is no longer hers. One by one they drift my way. Miss Collins, a hospital director says warmly, extending his hand. Your company's predictive analytics saved us millions last year. I'd be honored to discuss further partnership. Another joins in. Your keynote in Chicago was groundbreaking. I still quote your survival curve model. Their words swirl around me, admiration genuine and undeniable. For the first time in my life, my parents are forced to stand in a room full of people who see me clearly. Not through their distorted lens, but for who I am. I glance at my father. His jaw works furiously like he's chewing glass. My mother's smile strains so hard it might crack her face. And then the desperation begins. My father clears his throat, voice sharp, loud enough to slice through the chatter. Amber's exaggerating again. She always had a talent for stretching the truth. Don't be fooled. The room stills slightly. Few heads turn. But no one looks convinced. I don't respond. I don't need to. The directors and surgeons exchange subtle glances, the kind professionals give when assessing a case. Denial. Defensive. Not credible. My father doesn't see it. Or maybe he does, but he can't stop himself. He is a man accustomed to being obeyed, to dictating truth by sheer force. He doesn't realize that here, his voice carries no authority. My mother jumps in, her tone dripping with syrup. Oh, Dennis, don't be harsh. Amber has always been spirited. You know how competitive sisters can be. She just wants attention. Her eyes flit to the guests, seeking nods, seeking validation. But the silence that answers her is louder than any denial. And in that silence, memories surface. The couch I slept on for 6 months, clutching my backpack as if it contained a future I didn't yet believe in. The triple shifts at the diner, scrubbing dishes until my hands bled because tips weren't enough to cover rent. The humiliation of walking into interviews in a thrift store suit, knowing the name Collins meant nothing without their approval. All while Grace attended galas in satin gowns bought with the tuition fund stolen from me. All while my parents paraded her as the shining daughter, the success, the pride. My throat tightens, but I don't cry. Not anymore. Those tears dried up years ago. Tonight they are replaced by something quieter, stronger. Dignity. Attention, please. My father's voice booms, snapping the room to order. He steps forward, puffing his chest like a man reclaiming control. Tonight is about my daughter, Grace. Not distractions. So let's all focus on what really matters. Her achievements, her future, her marriage. His words hang in the air, a desperate command. The room goes still. But no applause comes. No cheers. No nods of agreement. Instead, the silence deepens. Every eye turns, not to Grace trembling at his side, but to me. The shift is complete. I don't revel in it. I don't smile, don't gloat. I simply stand, glass in hand, calm and unshaken. For once in my life, I don't need to fight for recognition. The room has already decided. Grace may be wearing the white gown, but tonight it is me they see. The room is still heavy with silence when I set my glass down. For a moment, I feel the weight of 100 eyes pressing against me, measuring, judging, choosing. And for the first time in my life, their judgment doesn't matter. I've already won. Not over Grace, not over my parents, but over the version of myself they tried to destroy. Michael leans close, his hand brushing mine. Ready to go, he whispers. I nod. Am ready. But before I leave, there is something I must do. Daniel Brooks approaches, moving with the deliberate pace of a man who wants clarity. He looks at Grace briefly, then at me. His expression a careful balance of politeness and unease. Amber, he says softly, may I speak with you for a moment? Grace stiffens at his side, but I see the tension in her shoulders when he doesn't ask her first. I follow him a few steps away, just enough for privacy, but close enough for Grace and my parents to feel every word. I don't pretend to know your history, Daniel begins, lowering his voice. But tonight, I saw enough to recognize integrity when it's standing in front of me. You've built something extraordinary. And his gaze flickers briefly toward Grace. I can't ignore the inconsistencies I've been hearing. I study him. He is sharp, capable, the kind of man who saves lives for a living. He's no fool, and he already suspects the truth. But I don't twist the knife. That's not why I came. Instead, I reach into my clutch and pull out a small, folded envelope. Inside is a single stock certificate. Medova shares I could easily keep, but tonight they serve a different purpose. This, I say, placing it in his hand, isn't a weapon. It's a gesture. Whatever happens between you and Grace, your work matters. If Medova can help, it should. He stares at it, blinking in surprise. Why would you? Because this isn't about proving her wrong, I answer. It's about proving that I was never ruined. The words hang in the air, and something softens in his expression. Respect genuine and unforced. He tucks the envelope carefully into his jacket pocket. Thank you. Truly. Whatever else tonight has been, meeting you was an honor. I incline my head, then step back. His gratitude isn't mine to savor. It belongs to the work I built, the years I clawed my way through. And that's enough. I turn to leave, but Grace intercepts me. Her eyes are blazing, rimmed red, not with tears of joy but humiliation. She waits until the music swells again before hissing. Why did you even come back? Wasn't it enough to take tonight from me? Her words slice at the air between us, jagged and raw. I hold her gaze, steady and calm. I didn't come back to ruin you, Grace. I came back to prove to myself that I was never ruined. She flinches as though I struck her. For the first time, she has no retort, no performance, no smile to hide behind. Just silence. I don't linger. The ballroom fades behind me as Michael takes my hand, his thumb brushing gently across my knuckles. Leo skips ahead, tugging his bow tie loose, free at last. Outside, the night air is crisp, clean, honest. I inhale deeply, letting the chill cut through the last remnants of tension. As we walk toward the car, I glance back once at the glowing windows of Evergreen Resort. Behind those panes of glass, lies are collapsing in whispers, reputations fraying at the edges. But none of it belongs to me anymore. I left that life 11 years ago. Tonight was not about re-entering it. It was about reclaiming the pieces of myself they tried to erase. And now I am whole. The moral settles in me like a steady heartbeat, simple and undeniable. True strength doesn't come from tearing others down. Comes from building a life of integrity, one stone at a time, even when no one is watching. Lies may dazzle for a season, but they cannot endure. Dignity does. Work does. Truth does. You don't need to destroy others to rise. You just need to refuse to disappear. I squeeze Michael's hand, watching Leo race ahead, laughter trailing behind him like a promise of brighter days. This joy, this family, this freedom is my victory. Not vengeance. Never vengeance.